The Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday night segment of The Outer Realm. We are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network, UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 and 107.7 FM from the beautiful city of New Orleans. We are fully sponsored by the amazing people over at Folgers Coffee, who have been a part of our journey since the very beginning. So thank you, Folgers. It would not be the same without you. And Amelia and I love you for real. Anyway, we're also very grateful for the contribution of Dr. Snick, the sonic surgeon, aka Justin Snicker, who is the voice and, of course, the music that you just heard on our intro. He's an award-winning composer of Halloween, horror, sci-fi, and dark wave electronic music, which can be found on all of your favorite platforms. So check him out. Also, big thank you to Steve McGinnis, the artist behind all of our banners and logos here on the show. So he can be found on Facebook and Instagram, and also just happens to be specializes in the horror genre. So definitely check him out. So tonight, for the very first time, we welcome Jeff Olsner to the show. And he's going to be discussing how his life was forever changed as an exchange student at Findhorn Foundation in Scotland, where he learned why it is so important for us to have a connection to nature. And he talks about his groundbreaking work with climate scientists and a team of remote viewers to gather insights about climate change and mitigation. So, this is going to be one of those educational type shows. We're just waiting for him to come in. Because I don't know, I'm pretty earthy. I love it. Some of us just really love the forest and we just have a lot of respect for the planet, and others not so much. Amelia and I often talk about, grounding and earthing and things like that. And that really is connecting to the planet. And there's a lot of different stories that, I'm sure will be told this evening. And a lot of people find that connection through music and poetry and images and, all sorts of different things. So I'm going to put up his banner, his website's there, and you guys should go and check that out. There we go. So it's always like, when we look at people living in communes, like, people say, oh, the hippies used to do it. I don't know. I think they had it together, because how many people are going off the grid now?
Well, I don't understand that term hippie, because I know my parents, having been Italian immigrants, when my dad first moved here, moved in with his two brothers in a one-room apartment.
Right.
Literally one room with a bathroom.
Right.
They had a hot plate and they ate potatoes almost all the time.
Right.
And then eventually, when they could afford to buy a house, a whole bunch of them moved in there together. I know he had family there that couldn't afford to have a home, so he let them stay in the flat for free. And you'll often hear people make fun of that. It's like, that was the best way to live.
It really was.
That raised your family. You had a garden. They talk about earthing. They were in their gardens every day from May to October.
Right.
I think that not just them as immigrants, I mean, people, just immigrants in general.
Right.
I think they always live that way. So I find it hilarious when they say hippie commune. Like, what?
Right.
I think the only thing that was different, they had weed.
Right.
Maybe that's it, right? I don't know, because I can't see my dad doing that. But it was. I laugh. I think they had the best lifestyle, and that we should look into that a little bit more and try to adjust.
I think the earth basically, it sustains you. And I think a lot of hold on. As a star guest, spin. I don't see the link in your last message. Okay. I'm pretty sure it was there, but let's
Send it
try this
again.
again.
Yeah.
We'll try this again.
But you were
Uh,
saying connecting to the earth and
well, connecting to the earth is really important, and I think a lot of people are starting to go back to that,
yes.
and I think it's fantastic. Sorry, guys,
Yeah.
I'm just fumbling looking for I have to resend this link. I don't know where it went. Almost like it got lost in
Okay.
cyberspace or
My
something, but
my little I guess you call him your great nephew, my niece's son, Luca.
right,
I
right.
adore him. You'll never see pictures of him on Facebook because if you know what I do for a living and for what I did with
Right.
the police
Yeah.
department, you'd know I'd never post a photo of a child.
Right.
Um, no hate mail. Anyways, he wants to build his grandfather on his dad's side is building little boxes for him so that he could have it at waist level for him to grow his own
Oh,
vegetables. And he wants to do this at 9 years old. And I think, oh my God,
that's
I do think he's
fantastic.
going to be a chef. He's always had that thing
Mm,
since
right.
he could walk.
Right.
He's definitely going to do something with food. Uh,
Right.
so I think it's exciting and I think it's
Mm,
fantastic that his grandfather is building and his dad is building this for him to explore
right.
it. One,
Yeah.
to start better, connecting with the earth and understanding
Hmm.
how much it gives back to us so that we treat it well.
Hmm. I think, it'll be hopefully, I mean, it takes our generation to teach the next generation, but
Absolutely.
I tend to wonder if the next generation, I mean, I have to hope that the next generation will be, interested because we're
Oh,
such a technology based society now.
we'll
And
have, yeah,
everybody's like this,
yeah,
and I think somewhere along the line, a lot of the importance of the I'll say hippie lifestyle, and I say that with love, believe me, because
absolutely.
some of the dearest people in my life
My
in my
brother,
life
my
is
brother was like that. Yeah.
yeah. I have
Yeah.
friends who are like that even now, and I grew up with people like that around me, which I thought was really endearing, and
Yeah. Especially if you
it's
grew up in the 70s. Yeah.
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 So I just think it's important to try to find our way back. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what Jeff has to say. We are just waiting for him to come on board here. And if you guys go and look up, because I won't put it up yet, but the Findhorn Foundation, it's it's really a wild website. It's really it kind of reminds me again like a spiritualist sort of community where everybody's got the beautiful gardens and the colorful homes, like the bright colored homes. For those of you guys maybe who've been to Lilydale, because I love Lilydale, which is in
Mm,
upstate New York, and it's just you walk in through these gates and everybody, I mean, when we say earthy, they're earthy.
I can't wait to go. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're just, you know, everything is so how can I explain it? Everything just comes from the heart. Everything is like with love. They have fairy gardens and they have little
Yeah.
elf houses and
Yeah.
little
So
doors,
cute.
and I know, and you can go through these forests and they really nurture the forest and they have a temple in the forest and it's just really fascinating. They even have a little gnome section. I'm not really a fan of gnomes, so
My mom never cared for gnomes either.
I know.
She liked her
So
angelic statues and the little
yeah,
babas.
yeah, it's not about gnomes. I just think that they're
Yeah.
just waiting to cause some havoc, like shenanigans and stuff. So
It's
I don't
hard
know,
when you
but
know the backstory. Most people
yes,
that have garden gnomes, it's just it's a
yes,
it's just a thing. It's a cultural thing or their
it
garden thing.
is.
But when you're in
It
our field,
is.
it's a whole different
No, it's
whole
true.
different thing. It's like when you
I
put
do.
fairies on your sliding door window. Well, let me talk to you about fairies. But yeah,
I'm just
so
typing the guess. It's
no
like I'm not
problem.
sure where the first one went.
Oh,
Okay.
that's amazing, Zach. He wrote, can I read what Zach wrote?
Yes, yes, yes,
He
yes, yes.
wrote, my 89-year-old grandfather is still working on his beef cattle farm with no slowing down. And for his age, he's very muscular and fit. Well, that's why he doesn't need to slow down, honey. He's working and he's 89.
Right.
God bless him. Tamara says, I have grown corn, hay, wheat, vegetables, you name it. But you can grow things in pots or plant vegetables in between flowers in your garden. Let me tell you something, Tamara. My father had a giant garden, and I've posted this picture.
Right.
Giant garden, like bigger than a 20 by 40 pool.
Right.
And he would still, what was left wasn't much grass, but we had fruit trees everywhere. And he would still pot in his, because he was a winemaker, his old oak barrels. He would cut them in half and he would still pot vegetables in those halves. And he put them around the trees.
Right.
Like it was never ending.
Right.
You know,
I think it's awesome. I really do.
It's great.
It is. It is.
I miss the days of harvesting and putting it in the freezer and having it all winter long. I miss those days. But you can do that.
You can.
I can't because I'm out in the country and the rabbits eat everything.
That's true.
Everything. They ate my rose bush. I had to take everything down. Yeah.
Between the rabbits, the voles, the deer, it is really, really hard.
Oh, thank you, Tamara. Yeah.
Don't mess with fairies.
Yeah, no.
That's my thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I know someone who constantly deals with them.
They're not what a lot of people think that they are.
No, he knows exactly what it is. He's very gifted, but it's like they're his nemesis kind of thing. He's constantly having to deal with that. Hi, Chris.
Right.
Chris writes, my mother is 80 and she still plants tomatoes, green onions, and flowers. When we were kids, we had huge gardens. That's beautiful. Did you know that if you buy green onions, even in the grocery store, you save the roots, the little white roots, and you put them in a little bit of water in a glass? Do you know they grow back within a couple days?
Really?
I do it. So I buy it once and I eat it like for 2 weeks. I do it.
Really?
Yeah. It won't.
Crazy.
The third time it'll be thin, but you can either leave them in the water or put them in a soil and then they'll keep growing. But I had them in the water and I couldn't believe how fast, like literally the next day it's already shooting up. So yeah. So there's a little tip for you on saving money.
That is craziness.
You can also grow a pineapple from the stem on the top of your pineapple. You can.
That's interesting.
I tossed mine because I peeled too many back, but you can grow like a little baby pineapple plant.
Right.
From your pineapple, you take the last 4 layers, you twist the stem off, you take the last 4 layers off, let it dry for 2 days. You can rewind this. Don't worry, you don't need a pencil to write this down. Let it dry for 2 days, and then you put the tip in water. Takes a couple weeks, the root starts to grow, then you put it in soil, and you pour to water it from the top. So it goes in right straight through. You don't water the dirt. You water from the top in the center, and it'll eventually grow a tiny pineapple.
That's craziness. I'm just celebrating. Yeah.
There's all kinds of things. If you go online and you check anything that has a stone, like avocados, you can grow an avocado plant. You can grow lemons from the seeds. There's tips on everything to make the most of what you're doing. And you can also, you're upcycling like banana skins. You put them in water overnight and then you use that water to water the pineapple plant and it grows even better.
See, there's learning all kinds of earthy stuff.
Yeah, that's a lot of earth stuff. Just saying,
know.
There's a lot of tricks. And I think, like you said, for us or, someone to teach the next generation, I think AI is going to be planting things because it just doesn't look like it.
I think it's pretty sad.
Yeah.
I think we have to teach, we have to teach the next generation, and some of them are amazing, from a very young age. They learn to have a healthy respect for animals, but they don't think that plants can actually feel. Yeah. And plants can feel. And I'll probably end up telling this story, again, if Jeff gets on it. He's struggling a little bit with his browser right now. Sorry about that, guys. But I remember seeing this video and it came up in my memories, I think just yesterday, ironically. And there was a high school and they took two plants and they put them behind glass. They had one
Yes.
plant that everybody walked by and praised it and said wonderful, beautiful things to it. And then the other plant, everybody belittled it. They were mean to it.
Oh,
And I'll tell you, like within just about a week, you could see the difference. The plant that was being complimented was thriving. The color was really nice. And the other plant, the leaves were starting to wilt. After about a month, the one plant was thriving, beautiful.
Yeah.
The other one, the leaves were brown. It was dying.
yep.
And I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh. And this is what, people do to each other, not realizing that the same thing happens with plants. So
Yes.
yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
And it does.
Wayne says they sense
Yeah.
everything around them. I talk to all my plants, the trees, everything
Mhm.
that is living around me. I do too. But Wayne, the two of us also talk to ourselves.
It's
But
true.
yeah.
It's true. And this is also true, Tamara.
So we have to be careful of what we say to ourselves. We need to
It's
nurture
true.
ourselves too. Tamara says trees talk to each other via roots. It's like a telephone network. I love that.
It's true. Well, it's
I
true. They
love-
do.
Yeah.
They do. They're very sentient, and it makes it really, really hard. I think people don't realize that apparently your plants, if you even pull a leaf off of it, a dying leaf, they cry, they scream.
Mhm.
And
Oh,
I know scientists did this thing. Please send that other link again.
and people are afraid to eat lobster. Sorry.
I know.
I'm not beating up on vegans, please.
No, but I mean, it's true. They do. Okay, thank you for your patience. That was like nothing yet. What? Oh my gosh.
Ruth
Okay.
Keeler. Hi, Ruth says, look up the experiments that Cleve Baxter did with plants. It's fascinating. Thank you for that. Trees, mushrooms, most plants sing on a different vibration. Tamara says, that is so true. I've seen those videos where they connect that sensor to them and then you hear the music that comes from them. And sometimes I'm like, is it hurting the plant that they just connected it to the leaf?
Mhm.
For years, I couldn't grow an orchid a second time around. Like it wouldn't bloom for me. Now I have it blooming more
Right.
than it's supposed to. Like you hear they bloom once a year. Mine are blooming twice a year. And
Right.
I'm not doing anything different except I sing to them. I talk to them. I tell them how
Right.
pretty they are. And
Well,
I do
you
that.
certainly don't want to be, like if you're going to be, you have to talk to your food before you eat it, apparently, with your plants, because you need to tell them, you're going to, this is going to be your next evolution,
Yeah.
the next stage of your
Ugh.
evolution. You're going to something greater. You're going to be sustaining life.
Yeah.
And like, I never realized that you should actually do things like that. And do you know the same thing applies to water? Like I think it's
Yeah.
about intention. So if you put a glass of water on the counter and you label it like with love or light, things like that, when you drink it, it's like you're supposed to be taking in the energy. And you notice it because scientists have done experiments apparently with this. If you label the water, exactly, Tamara, and they put it in the freezer because they could see what the difference with the crystals. And I thought,
Mhm.
that's brilliant.
I'm grateful for water.
You
I
gotta
have total
talk to
gratitude.
but you need to talk to it. So you're talking to your plants, you're talking to your water. Yeah, say it's true. Wayne's sister does. She does do this every single day,
Yeah.
every day.
That's good.
Yeah, exactly. If we underestimate plants. Yeah. Have you ever seen just imagine a big giant Venus flytrap?
Oh,
You want to be nice to that sucker.
yeah.
It'll
It'll take your head.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, about that.
Yeah.
But I think
Oh, sorry.
that
My fan's driving me crazy and my lip gloss. Okay.
if you walk through a forest, then you should if you listen, you'll hear it. Trees do speak to each other. What is
I thank my basil before I put it in the sauce. Like I literally pick them and I tell them how pretty they are and thank you so much for nourishing my family and
Right.
flavoring my food. The dog always thinks I'm talking to him because I
Of
do it in
course.
that high pitched voice.
Dog with the
Wait, thank
attitude.
you.
Yeah.
You're so pretty. And the dog comes like, hey, yeah, I'm pretty. But
Right. Right. So funny.
I do that with the basil. I do.
Right. You want to get this? I'm going to pop up a couple comments while we're waiting.
Yes. Ruth says, look up. Yeah, I already said that.
Okay, how about this one? I got the wrong one.
It's okay. Masaru Emoto did the experiments with water. I saw that video. It was fascinating.
Yes.
Yeah, you saw the still calm water and the vibrational water.
Amazing. It's amazing.
Trees hum if you listen. I think that's why you get so peaceful when you're in a forest because you're actually hearing that humming and you don't even realize it.
Right.
You know, hi Dolly. Water holds light, intention, positive intention into your body, heals your entire body is 86% water.
True. That's true.
Have a sister-in-law who hates the taste of water, and I tell her it will create so many problems for you.
That's true.
You really need it.
Yeah.
Everything thrives off of water. The entire planet is based on water. Dolly says, thinking negative thoughts, you hold them in the water of your body. Oh,
that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, Chris.
Crazy. Oh, sorry. I thought it didn't move up for me. I'm reading it from the side. It's bigger. Hi, Chris. Chris says, when I'm out in nature among trees and such, that's where I feel closer to God than anywhere else. There's a peacefulness there.
Right.
Yeah, the trees humming.
Yeah. I love it. And the same thing goes. Oh, hold on. Okay.
Oh, Dolly, I sent you that pattern, by the way, in Messenger. Wayne says, when I cook, I talk to the food first, explain what I'm doing, and people always comment on how good it is. Yet when they make the same thing, it never tastes the same. They forgot to add love intention.
Love intention, or the recipe to the home fries. Everybody wants that. He's
it's love.
Come from everywhere for that.
It's the most important ingredient, my mother would say, is the love and the passion.
Exactly. Exactly.
Sarah said you can put cucumbers and strawberries in your drinking water. I do. I do.
Yes. I love cucumbers and that. Yeah.
Yeah. Dolly says large bodies of water charge you with positive ions. I think so. You find that people that live oceanside and seaside, especially with the salt water, are much healthier than we are when it comes to sinus issues. And, like the salt water, it's always humid. It's not dry. So they don't tend to have the same issues that we do. The migraines, the sinus infections, the ear infection. It's different for them. Yeah. Because what do you put in your sinus, in your nose when you're clearing out your nose? Saline. What do you put in your eyes? A saline solution. So you know what I mean? Like it's just different.
Yeah, so I'm just still. It would appear that our soundboard, this is a first for us, is not letting the guests on.
Oh no!
I know. So I'm just like, we have people who use all kinds of different platforms to get on the show here, and I don't quite understand.
What's his browser?
Well, he says I even. What did he say? I even downloaded Chrome. I said, maybe just restart the computer, because otherwise, I could bring him on the phone. He can call me, but
it's difficult to hear.
Yeah, exactly.
Soft spoken too.
He really is. Yeah. So,
you can put me on the phone, but
I know. The soundboard.
Yeah. I agree with Tamara. It says if you're having depression, walk by water or lake shores. It changes your energy. It does. It charges you. I remember living in Toronto. I would drive down to the lake shore often, and just a lot of. It's funny because we lived in the suburbs and we would drive down to the city, which is hilarious because people who live in the city drive out to the suburbs because they're so used to it. But there's a peaceful side of Toronto on the lake shore. where
Right.
it isn't a city right before you
Right.
get into the city center. And
Right.
it's so pretty. And we would always go either there or by the ferry and just watch the boats. For
Right.
me, that is the most relaxing. I love restaurants that are on the water. Burlington's classic for that.
Oh, for
You
sure.
know,
Yeah.
and I love going there.
Right.
And the food could be the worst food ever, but I enjoy sitting
Right.
on that patio with the
Mm.
lake in the background.
Right.
Love it.
There's something to be said. Our guest is going to keep trying. So I said, that's fine. You know, go ahead. We're going to be for a couple of hours.
Yeah, no
We'll hold
problem.
the fort. That's all I
See?
said. We'll hold the fort.
Zach's validating me. Sorry.
I know. So no, I completely think that there's something to be said about, you know, like picnicking, just being in nature, listening to the
Mm.
sound of birds. I
Eating food with
personally
ants. Sorry.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Sure.
I'm just like, that's the one thing I can't do.
No, you know what? We just used to take the family all the time. It was wonderful. I think that positive ion strength in your brains. Yes, absolutely. It's funny too, isn't it, Dolly? Because in the world of ions, however, the negative ions are the better ions
Mm.
than the positive ions.
I've said this many times to you. I cannot do a reading with a salt lamp on.
No.
Running with Bigfoot. No, for me, it's the bugs. I can't handle the bugs.
I don't know. I have a bit of a. Well, I don't even know. Oh, this is Wayne's big one. June bug.
Dodging June bugs
I
at
know.
night. Yeah,
He hates them. He hates
I
them.
don't like them.
They have it out for him. They do. They have it out for him. It's
Me,
just,
it's crickets. I'm on the second floor of my house, and my house doesn't sit level to the ground, and
Right.
they are on my windowsill outside in droves.
I know.
Just, I'm like, where's the
I
birds
know.
now? Come on, this is easy prey.
I know. I don't know what it is. It's like I completely agree about connecting to nature because I'm one of those people. I mean, I get upset when I see a tree get cut down. Okay, I
Oh,
do.
it bothers me
But
too.
sometimes nature fights back.
Yeah, takes your house with it.
Yeah, I know. I
Yeah.
know.
Takes
Right.
your house
So,
with it.
oh, look at this. Here's one for you. My God.
Trees move for no one.
It's true.
Aliens bring you crickets follows. Not nice. Not nice, brother. Not nice.
I know.
Oh, no
I know.
soup for you.
I know. Like, oh, look, Tamara said, what? You couldn't get on our chat last week? That doesn't even make sense now.
That's
I don't-
crazy. But
I
that would
don't
be,
know.
but you're in Facebook. It might just be Facebook that didn't let you on.
Yeah, that's a bit crazy. Okay, so while we're waiting for the guest,
Hi, Jamie.
let's talk about let's talk crazy stuff in
Oh,
nature because you know our indigenous people, along with many ancient people, I mean, they had a healthy respect for nature, elementals, which are earth spirits. They even had like there was something in those woods. There was a healthy respect for that too. So while we're all waiting, okay, let's talk about spooky things in connecting to nature. Depression is lessons. Yep, exactly. Sun
okay.
exposure has negative ions. Depression is lessons. 100%. Couldn't get it to work on YouTube. Maybe it's just you, Tamara. Because everybody else is on YouTube. I don't know. I don't know. So,
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to get into more benign things in the woods. Okay.
Beetles. Ugh.
Okay. Up north,
I
near
like bats.
Basin, especially during summer, I've been bombarded with large beetles. Bats are cool. Oh, you can eat buffet. No. Yeah, well, for them, maybe.
For them, yeah.
The
Or
dog
sometimes we
bowl.
become their buffet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm in the country, so there's bats around me all the time. They tend to nest in my breezeway between the
Right.
garage and the house, but
Right.
we don't disturb them.
Yeah.
They're really
Oh,
cute.
no,
They're just
we used to
tiny
have at
little
the other
things.
house, we had them flying. Bats would fly through the upstairs. I think the first week I moved in there, and I hear something, and all of a sudden there's this fairly big bat too. I mean, it had a good little
Yeah.
wingspan on it, and it's flying through the whole upstairs of the manor.
Oh wow. No,
Yeah,
ours are
cute.
teeny. They're the cute little guys. They're like this big.
No, this
when
one
they're
wasn't.
when they're perched. They're so cute, except when
No.
they catch part of your hair.
Spirit, this thing, no, it was a fair size. I was doing the whole clap it thing. I was almost thinking like I had a light ready to go on, like just trying to shift it to the radar, just like move it. And it would
Yeah.
definitely go back around. So I kind of made my way out and finally got it out of the house. I'm like, oh, come on now, there we go, Dolly.
Dahlia says we did a spirit calling 2 days ago. Got spirits to be photographed. Michelle saw one. Cool.
I saw, yes, well, that happens to me regularly. Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on now. Hold on. Okay, I'll give that a try. Ba, 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 ba. Okay, so he's apologizing. He goes, I don't know what happened. He's going to discuss it as they're a little bit more computer savvy than he is. He says, I've been tense thinking that you had a live audience. You were waiting for me with them. I hope that's not the case. No, I suggest a time in August when I'm free. Yeah, so we'll definitely get him all sorted. So that means it's a free for all tonight, guys.
Q&A.
I know, right?
Wow.
I know. So I have to go in and change some stuff. But so okay, hold on. There we go. So I think that let's talk elementals. Since we're talking about, earthy things and connecting to nature, elementals, earth, wind, fire,
Water.
earth, wind, fire,
Water. Air.
Sometimes, you have to have a healthy respect for them. We have encountered a lot of people who have had elemental issues. And if you have some unhappy elementals, they can wreak havoc on your property.
Yeah, I've
right?
never had that problem.
Yeah, see, I have run into corrupted elementals because the land was corrupted.
Yeah.
This is something people don't think about and not something to mess with. 100%. And the way we're squeezing out some of the land and the forests now, I think we're going to come across this a little bit more often. Let's face it, you see a lot of farmland disappearing, you see forests disappearing, you see trees going down, everything. It's just really sad.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
really sad.
Yeah.
And as you do that, elemental spirits are earth spirits. Remember that, right? So earth, air, fire, water, and the fifth element is spirit. There we go.
I can tell you earth, fire, and water is common in suburbs.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. Okay, I'll put this out there. Who could live on a property if you knew there was a Bigfoot on it? Or take it. Let's put the range a little farther. Any sort of cryptid. Could be skinwalker. Could be a dogman. Could be any kind of a cryptid. One that would put you out of your element. And then we'll talk about the options of what they could be. You put it out there. I think I could. I
know you could.
I could do it. I think it would depend because dogmen are pretty aggressive.
But
apparently very
they're so close to us too, though. We don't know if we aren't already living with them. Bigfoot kind of freaks me out because I always feel like they need their space. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't bother me. It would bother me if I was an issue.
Well, I think it's because, taking it again and step into a different direction. We don't really know, right? We don't really know who they are. I mean, we've had a lot of people on the show that talk about Bigfoot. I'm actually looking at, I've messaged a couple of people to come on the show actually to talk more about dogmen and things of that nature. But for Bigfoot, because we've had so many people on the show through the years who have chimed in, and for Amelia and I, believe me, it's an educational process every single time. We do learn a lot. We do listen to our guests. But we had a guest on two, I think, have come on and say, yes, it's possible where they are actually cannibals. I have a problem with that.
Yeah, me too.
I'm all good with the whole. I would be good with them being there, you know. But it's funny because Wayne was sitting down last night and he goes, "Well, at least with the way different sounds in the house." He goes, "Well, at least it's not Bigfoot throwing stones at us." That's
There's
random.
a,
Where did that
that's
even
a
come from?
positive way to look at
I
things.
know.
I love your perspective, Wayne.
I know. I'm just like, where the heck did that come out of the blue? But I agree with you. So it reminds me of the story, because our family has like 100 acres out near a really large provincial park and big cottage area up this way. And this was in and around the time where we had these two gentlemen on. And I'm actually going to go back and try to find, I think that might have been, we lost like over 100 archives when, the network's original YouTube went down. And
150.
we had people on there, 150, yeah, right?
I won't forget that number.
And basically, I totally lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
Oh, yes. They were talking about different things that Bigfoots do. So they behave a certain way. If they cry a certain way, this is how they behave. If they come at you a certain way, this is how they behave. Or if you do something, this is how they take it. So one of those things was if you go out, like let's say I'm trying to scare them with pots and pans and hitting pots and pans, they take it as a sign of war. I was like, crud, because we had a caretaker on the property at the time who had said to us, he goes, I heard tree tapping. Something was knocking on a tree at about 5 a.m. and it was still really dark. So I know nobody was out chopping wood. And I'm just like, whatever you do, don't go out with pots and pans. I think it's a sign of war. You'd be a dead man. Well, after he had left, we went and we just locked everything up. We noticed that because he's like part native, and I noticed that he had tobacco out there and he had all of this smudging stuff, and he'd been out there, I think, trying to make peace, because Indigenous people are very, very, like I said, they're very earthy. They have a very healthy respect. And I thought it was interesting. So I was like, oh my God. Okay. So, all right. We don't know, if they're cannibalistic or not in that area, but it was interesting because there's a couple of really popular TV shows out there that will show you videos of things. And I don't like to say it, I like the show, so I'm going to say it. It's like Paranormal Caught on Camera. Heck with it. Anyway.
Yeah, they changed their cast.
Right?
Sorry.
Well, yeah, I think they do that now and then. But what was interesting is there was a video clip of a Bigfoot walking on the side of the road in the exact same area.
Good Lord.
Right?
And you could tell that it wasn't like blurred out or questionable.
Oh, no. Yeah, it was clear as day walking on the side of the road.
No,
like
no,
they were
no,
in a car and they were videotaping it ahead of
hell
them.
to the no.
And then it wandered off the side of the road and kind of went off into a path or something. So I'm just like,
yeah,
okay.
no.
That's that. So, I don't know. That's to me is just a little bit much. So hold on. I'm on the air. Hold on now. Sorry, guys.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'll just read what Dolly wrote. Oh, I can't get back up there. Hold on. So that I can see it, but let me see. Yes. She said we planted every kind of fruit trees and even are growing tobacco because a friend said they eat it. Sasquatch is welcome. Good for you.
Oh, isn't that great? Do they spit it out like some people do too?
Isn't that sweet? Isn't that sweet? Yeah, it's quite all right.
Skinwalkers, though. Nope. See,
I'm with him.
Yeah, I mean, Bigfoot would be cool. Yeah, it's funny how some people feel that way, because honestly, like skinwalkers could be what in Canada they would call like Wendigos.
Yeah, there's a lot of there.
Yeah, and there's a lot of documented stories that go back to Jesuit priests in the 1700s, in some of the provinces that were being colonized. And the native people, the indigenous people, the area were trying to explain to these priests what these beings were. And this is probably where we got some of the first accounts for the Wendigo, because the priest's like, oh, they're afraid of this thing, because he would have to report back to his superiors. And
Mhm.
because I'm having a struggle converting people because of this or this or this. So that was like pretty cool documentation showing that, our indigenous people had this healthy fear of these beings. And the Wendigos seem to be really close in appearance, to what some people have described with the skinwalkers. Both aggressive, just,
Mhm.
But again, I think when you start getting into, Bigfoot, people just seem to be a little bit more relaxed with them for whatever reason.
I'm not. They're
Yeah.
massive. Well, I wouldn't be relaxed with bears either. Like, I'm not that kind of an outdoorsy person.
Mhm.
I do love to be outdoors. I do love walking in forests, but
Mhm.
not so deep that something enormous could live there. I'm
Mhm.
on the safer side. I'm not
Mhm.
going to walk where there's mountain cats. I'm not going to walk where there's cougars. That's just not me. I
Right.
wouldn't take a risk like that. But I do love being in nature, just not to
Right.
that degree. Like our friend Hamilton White, who can take a
Right.
tent and put it anywhere and spend
Right.
a week there. I can't do that. I wish I could. I'm sure it
Right.
has something to do with a past life, but
Mm.
I think so. But I love being
Mhm.
barefoot. I love walking in the grass. I would go barefoot deep into a forest. I used to love collecting leaves off the ground and connecting with them and feeling
Mhm.
the energy. That was all important to me.
Mhm. Yeah, you know what? I think it's very important that we do. And sometimes it means that we have to intermingle with some, of the beings that are out there. And I don't know. I think we have so many dense forests and so many areas that are completely um uncharted, for the most
Yes.
part. And I think anything could be out there, which, okay, we'll put a couple. Um, we have to start asking ourselves, where do they come from? What do we think they are? Dogman apparently are extremely intelligent, but hell,
Yeah, I don't need
extremely
to be.
aggressive too,
I don't want to disturb any of them because you're in that's their world.
Mhm. Right.
I'm just saying, don't go so deep into the forest. That's all I'm saying.
I don't think it really matters how deep you go into it. And again, I go back to a story of that a woman told me, and she was raised, like on her grandmother's property, grandparents' property, which is probably about an hour, 2 hours from here. And she was told as a little girl, do not go into the forest
Hi,
because
Steve.
that's where the
Yeah.
wolf people are. And she'd be like, "Oh, okay." So as she got older, she was probably about, between 13, 16 years old. She was walking, through the fields
Mhm.
on the farm, because this was a farm. And she stopped it dead in her tracks, pardon the pun, and she looked over along the tree line, which is where the forest was. And she claimed she saw five, like what looked like to be large wolves walking upright. And her grandmother, they call them the wolf people. The hell is that about?
They
That's
need to
not
stay
even
in
in
their
the
own.
woods.
They need to stay in their own land.
It's true. And I'll tell you something. This is Steve, Nocturnal Frequency. Okay, we're both from Burlington. And Steve, chime in if you've gotten any reports. But I used to get reports of people saying that they saw large wolves that would like run or lope and then stop, stand up, and keep walking off
Mm.
the side of the road. Or that some of them were so big that they basically would take up like a whole lane. Like, you just picture a lane on a road, and how your car, as you're driving, how it fits in. They're pretty big. Your car fits in it. You have space on each side of the lane. Well, when this one woman had claimed that she saw a wolf, and it looked like it had pretty, you know, like more than just wolf features. There was something about it. It didn't look right. The eyes didn't look right. And this thing was standing across the lane because she came to a halting stop and it was there. And then it turned around and it looked at her and she goes, it looked like it was about ready to stand.
Oh,
And then it just got back down and then took off. So there you go. Yeah. Okay.
oh, Sue says I had an experience similar back in 2003. Why have we not discussed this?
I know. And
Call in.
Tamara's also Burlington, right? They
Yes.
show up in cities. Yeah, like Burlington.
Yes.
It's just
Yes.
like, so I don't know. I mean, I grew up north around wolves and I was very comfortable around them. I remember being just sitting on one mountain eating an apple, and I was probably like maybe between, I don't know, 8, 10, in and around there, 11 maybe. And I was way up on the mountain. Back then you could do that. And I could see, like my house from where I was, not like I was out in no man's land or something like that. And this big timber wolf sat on the neighboring mountain just staring at me. I was just eating, but I knew instinctively, just don't look at it or don't
Yeah.
look at it in the face. And I'd look up and I would look up like this, and it would look at me. And I, after that I was done. I just got up and walked back down the mountain and never had any issues. So I didn't
Yeah.
have a healthy fear of wolves at all.
No, when you're north, it's different because even us, the cottage, the lake house was like 2 hours away from Toronto. It wasn't as far north as you, but we had wolves and all kinds of other things that walked around. And I used to walk around by myself away from the house.
Mhm.
And yeah, you get used to seeing them and just
You
to
do.
continue or stop and don't engage.
Right.
Mind you, we're also Gen X guys, just saying.
No, it's true.
We're a little
We're pretty
crazy.
fearless.
Yeah.
But I mean, just about, I think back in 2018, the winter of 2017 or 2018, again, my Burlington house, and I know I've told this story, but I'll
It's
tell it
worth
again.
repeating. Yes.
Well, I was in the kitchen. I was washing some dishes. My hands are wet, so I didn't have my phone in my hand because I don't live with my phone in my hand, people. I know people think I do because I'm pretty much on top of things, but not all the time. And this huge animal came barreling through a backyard. Now, I lived at the time close to the Royal Botanical Gardens. There's a lot of wooded area, and I was surrounded by ravine. And it was wintertime, and I see this rabbit go just like barreling across the backyard. And we had an acre and a half, and it dove under one of the outbuildings. I was just like, wow, we're in a hurry. And all of a sudden, this big animal, this dog type and wolf, whatever it was, came barreling through the backyard, couldn't catch the rabbit, stopped, and sort of got up on its haunches, a back, and it has a huge chest. I'm going, what is that, a husky, Malamute? What is that? And I realized it had a little bit of a longer snout, and I've had several huskies, so I know one to see one hands down. This thing was so wide and a huge chest on it, and I was afraid to move. I'm in the kitchen going, big,
Oh,
I
boy.
had a really big, window in the back so we could see the ravine and everything else. And I'm like, don't move, because he was looking at the house. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't think I've ever seen anything this big. And like I said, if anyone hasn't seen a timber wolf, if you have a pickup truck, a high one, they're going to come up and look over the hood of the truck.
They are
They're
so
big.
beautiful. They're like little ponies.
They are. They're really
Yeah.
cute. This
Yeah.
thing was probably as tall as one, but really wide. It was not a coy wolf. It was not a coyote. It was nothing like that, because we have those in the area as well. And we've seen them and we've heard them. This was like nothing I'd ever seen, which means absolutely nothing because I haven't seen everything. But I had to move eventually. So I moved to try to back up and go to slowly work my way to the other room to grab my phone and see if I could catch it through the other window. It spun around, took a good look at the house again, and then took off down the ravine.
Mhm.
So Wayne comes over and says, "You need to get the hell over here." I said, "What the hell I just saw." So he comes over and he says, "I'm going to try to take some pictures," which is hard because it was in the snow, but at least we had the prints. There was
Mhm.
the freaking prints was as big as his
You
hand.
need to share that again. I know you shared it once, but it's fascinating. It's a fascinating photo because Wayne doesn't have small hands.
No, and there were a couple of pictures, and I
Yeah.
think then he took a measurement, and it was pretty big. It's just like it was crazy, And I'm thinking I'd have ran too if I was that rabbit.
Oh my
So
god, that would be like candy for it because 'cause they're so big,
oh
but,
my
they
god,
remind me
teeth
if
flossing.
anybody's
I don't
I
know.
had a daughter who was heavily into Twilight,
See,
so I read the books before
said,
she did, and yeah,
right? It was as
that
big as
print
my
was
hand.
as big as my hand, yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
and I just they they look like the wolves in Twilight. They're
Mhm.
that massive.
Right.
They're so beautiful.
They are. It,
I
it,
love
it was
looking at
huge.
wolf sanctuary videos.
Yeah, it
Oh,
was huge.
they're
So
so lucky.
Steve says mine was canine, like, and stood on its hind legs for over 10 minutes. What?
That's scary.
Hind legs.
Hind
Yeah.
legs. See, that freaks you out because when they're on their
See?
hind legs, they're
Yeah, see?
trying to show power and fear, right? To make sure
Mhm.
that you walk away. And then
Yeah.
you're afraid to walk away. It's like, I am turning
Well,
my
they are
back
huge.
on this thing.
No. I never had issues with Timberwolves. I grew up around them as well as the standard, gray wolf, black wolf. Those like they were just all over the place up north. And we were surrounded by lakes and mountains. So they were definitely there. But that's why I'm saying I know a wolf when I see one. Because I spent a lot of time. I used to go mountain climbing all the time. I love going through the mountains, picking blueberries, spending time. I was just raised, I knew what to do. You see a bear, just cautiously,
Yeah.
very cautiously. Bears didn't care during blueberry season. They had their own blueberries, you know. But and wolves is just having a healthy respect. So honestly, it's just like, I don't know. This thing was wild. So there are things out there, and I don't know necessarily that I would want, you know, my family out there.
Especially little ones.
Well, yeah,
Puppy.
I mean, and it's
Puppy.
funny because one of my son's friends who lived not far away said that he and his father were driving by the house at one time because it was on a bit of a bend. And it was they saw like two beings that looked like wolves walking across the road. It went down to the ravine on the other side. So I'm thinking, okay, that's interesting. And then I remember my daughter saying to me, and I'll tell you where I'm going with this. She goes, I remember looking out to the backyard one night and I saw what looked like this really tall animal of some sort. But the eyes seemed to be glowing. I'm like, well, that could be because
Oh,
of the lighting, because
yeah.
there were street lights and we had like sensor lights in the back. And she goes, maybe. She goes, but it was pretty.
But
But here's the kicker. Worked with a family probably about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour west of Burlington. And one night they said that they were away. They would go away and they would have one of their adult sons come and stay at the house with the dog. And that night, the son was out with his girlfriend and they were hearing all kinds of stuff. This house was like really haunted. The area was fairly active. And
Mhm.
they basically, she went home. He remained behind with the dog. So later that night, he's taking the dog out to do its business before calling it a night. Dog wasn't having it. Dog's backing up, going, "No, I'm
He
not having
smells
these."
them.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
goes, "I'm not having these shenanigans. I'm going back in the house." And he's
Yeah.
like, "Come on," because let's go, let's go. Dog's like, "Not happening." So anyway, the dog backs up and goes up behind him, and he turns around and he looks, and there's a super tall being. He could see a snout, and he goes, and the eyes
That's
glowed.
crazy.
But it was hooded, this thing. Okay.
Like
So
like
he
Little
grabs
Red
the
Riding
dog.
Hood?
Yeah. He grabs the dog, bolts into the house, slams the thank God steel door, locks it up. This thing comes in, bangs the door, and then he could hear it sniffing.
Oh, I got chills down my
The
spine.
top hike are you if you can sniff the top of a damn door, you know?
You're over 7 feet.
I know. Now, here is another
Oh.
kicker. So somewhere within that week, it came out that a neighboring area, a neighboring farm was having work done, and the workers left because there was a gray that came out of the barn. And apparently, a light was seen in the sky, something happened, and they got a bunch of like people were calling into the police department. This was all within like a 3-day span of the sighting, the 2 sightings, and this craft. So I'm thinking to myself, what the hell are they?
Oh my God.
I mean, right? It wasn't a wolf or 6 bear. Heck no. I've yet to see a bear. Call me crazy, but we have bears in Burlington. I don't even know.
I don't know.
I don't think I've ever seen a bear in Burlington, but
It wouldn't be a black bear,
I don't know.
right?
Like,
Because
I mean,
aren't they in
here up
heavily
north we have
forested?
them, but
Yeah, they're more heavily forested. But you have wildcats there, don't you?
yes. Yeah.
They
Oh,
freak me
yeah.
out.
See, here's another one, right?
Oh, Wayne says, I saw a very ragged, mangy looking dog like creature run down my street. It had long gray hair. It looked, sorry, I can't see that.
Staved or starved?
Staved or starved.
Skeletal. Yeah.
Very skeletal. Never seen anything like it. That sounds
I
supernatural.
know. Wayne's like,
That
yep,
doesn't
going to the
sound-
house. Nope, not doing it.
Yeah, that
So-
that doesn't sound like
I know.
something.
No, doesn't
You
sound like
run the
anything
other
fun
way,
at all. I
and
know.
you twist your head, your eyes to the back, and you run.
I know.
Oh my
Wayne,
God.
type out the other story from Rob's experience. There's another one that happened relatively around the same time. Okay, can you get Ruth's?
Yes, Ruth says maybe a dire wolf came through a portal from another dimension.
I think it's possible.
Wouldn't that be cool? Because those
Right.
wolves are gorgeous.
Okay, here it is. Okay, here
Yeah,
we go.
a friend saw a similar animal one morning around 5 a.m. It crossed the road in the fog. It disappeared for a moment. Then a tall man emerged from the fog.
The same area. It was behind a street, like a street lamp, like just a pole, a light pole. So he moves
Ew.
around the other side, and that's who came out. I'm just like, yeah.
What the?
That's Niagara area.
No, I know. Dolly says there's black bears in Canada. No, I know that they're very big,
Yeah,
but
but
I'm
not in
saying
our area.
not in our
Northern
area. I'm saying
Ontario,
further
northern.
north.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
further,
different areas.
like
Not
4 or
down
5
here.
hours from us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not down here.
That's why I said, because we're Southern Ontario, like we're just a hop, skip, and a jump from Buffalo.
Yeah.
So, I mean, some of our cities are practically American. We're so close, but
right.
yeah, you won't see bears here. It's all
The guy-
city.
Yeah. So the guy backed up the entire length of the street, never took his eyes off the man standing in the mist.
Sorry, I didn't realize.
I know.
That's
just like,
creepy. Got that right, Ruth.
that would be it for me too. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Paranormal. Sorry, can you read that? Because
Yeah, paranormal UFOs and cryptids show up. Yes, there was a bear killed about 10 years ago in Burlington. It was on CH News. Yeah, but was it native to Burlington or did it somehow wander in from somewhere? Like,
Yeah, like on a boat. Hey, Burlington's surrounded by water, so
I guess they make their way down. They can make their way over because I know they would have them in the east, like let's say Bancroft area, the Muskokas. But I mean, Burlington, we're just not that
Too busy.
forested.
it's too busy though. It's all city and it's busy and highways, like right in the middle
Yeah,
of
man,
it.
it would be
It's-
hard.
It would
It
be
would
really
be
tough.
rough. Yeah.
Like, sometimes you never know. Somebody could have brought a cub down from up north and tried to raise it as a pet, and then it was walking around. That
Mhm.
happens a lot. You hear that on the news a lot. How do people have these snakes they're not supposed to have illegally,
true.
and then all of a sudden it's loose on the street? Like, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Animals travel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hydro lines around. I can see one getting on a train.
I can
well,
see one getting on a train.
Think about how many times they're
Yeah.
opened,
I don't know.
when they're stopped up
I
north.
know.
They
Yeah.
climb in and then
That's true.
come
It's
down.
possible. That's
That's
possible.
highly possible. But it
So-
wouldn't be able to walk that 5 hours. I mean, it would have starved.
All I know is, I mean, again, you go out near Bancroft area out that way. I mean, I guess it's possible, because I know like our family members like, oh, why do you want to go live on that property? Not really. Because I want to
No.
go live with Bigfoot. No.
No, but
Because
just
when they
recently it was the border of the wildfires. You don't want to be there.
Well, no, and it's not just that, but I mean, the area you're looking at, there's like 400 acres, 500 acres between the two properties there that backs on to government land and then backs on to what is it, 20,000? Is it 20,000 acres or something like that of the provincial park?
Yeah, it's
No,
crazy.
I'm okay, thanks.
Provincial park like Yellowstone. Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
Like
yeah.
that
It
kind
would
of
be
wild
like, yeah,
animals. Yeah.
like your state parks is what it would be like.
That,
Yeah. So
exactly. That's where
sure.
you'd find your bears.
Wait, hard pass. You think?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Hard no. Hard
So
no.
I know.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, yeah, I'm okay. I'm all down for the whole nature thing. I really am. I'm really down for the nature thing. However, with that being said, 20,000 hectares. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty big. But I love nature and there's all kinds of stuff in those woods. Let me tell you, there is. I mean, there's a show out there that talks about the stuff that is in the woods.
Oh my
So
God.
I know.
There's a few of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's some pretty terrifying experiences.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And how do you have, like, I know people who have gardens, then they actually thrive really well around really dense forests, amazingly. So it makes you wonder, is it because, they
They're
have
eating
that
everything?
energy that comes in from everything?
Or the bigger ones are eating the little
gardening
ones?
would do good because I would think that that the wildlife would just be hoeing down on that in a big time, just eating.
Not if Bigfoot's eating the bunnies
No, but if there was a garden there, I'm pretty much thinking it might
and the
be. I don't know.
raccoons.
I know. So this is a good question, Tamara.
Tamara asked, my question is, why are the cryptids now showing up? Why are they pushed out of the forest population explosion?
Sure.
Yeah, I think so. There's
Well,
too many houses here.
I saw two coyotes today in broad daylight run in front of my car from a wooded area, and they went right into somebody's front lawn, and they were fearless. I stopped the car. I looked at them because usually they'll hightail it out.
Yeah.
They turned around, looked at me like, "What you gonna do about it?"
Oh,
Just
yeah.
like,
I have them in the
Okay.
backyard. They're so used
Okay.
to people, they
Okay.
will come at you. I'm
They
so
do.
used to them being here.
It's
But
true. It's true.
I forgot what I was going to say. Dolly said magnetic confusion.
Yeah,
Apparently what happened to me just now.
I know.
Wayne has a
What?
question regarding our show last week.
Last week, you're a bit behind. Okay. Go
Were
ahead
we
and ask.
talking? No.
I know.
Okay.
Well, last week we had Barbara DeLong and
So which
Robert
one,
Sullivan.
Wayne?
Which show? You go ahead, you ask. We'll keep going along till you get your question up there.
Okay.
If I have a question.
The pole changes
Pole
are
changes
a
are a
problem. Tamara's seen coyotes downtown
yeah.
Burlington around 12 noon.
Oh,
yeah, they're
yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
It was reading an essence occupying the body. Do you know if the body is aware of the essence? Oh,
That was with Barbara.
Barbara.
That was a good one. That was a really good show.
It was very interesting. She's
Yeah.
so amazing.
Okay, an essence occupying the body. Do you know if the body is aware of the essence? That's a good question. I
Yeah,
don't know because
I don't know.
the body lives and breathes. We sustain it, but do we actually? Okay, second part of the question.
Or does the essence only occupy the body and it's the essence speaking through the body? Yeah,
I would tend to.
that's a great question.
I would tend to think that actually this part of things because, I mean,
Save that. Isn't she coming back for August?
She's coming back in August. Save the question. No, I mean, I can only be hypothetical about it because honestly, some people, like if you clone somebody, for example, or an animal. The animal still makes sounds. It still exists. It still
The
lives
meat
life.
body.
So I don't know.
Go to the next one.
In my essence, there's
The
the essence
meat
simply,
body.
yeah, and yeah, it's simply a hitchhiker. Now I
Oh,
want to know that. I'm going to have to say, Barbara, here's a question.
or Michelle's going to be like going through all her research tomorrow based on this.
I know, because it's going to drive me. Why didn't you just ask me that? Like when you're sitting across the table from me, I could have probably tried to look at it. All right.
Dolly says your physical body can sense all sorts of energy. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
I did. Yeah, you got ahead there.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll go there.
I'm just so happy I can read them on this side. That one I
Right.
can't read because it's too high up. It's-
Right.
Sorry.
Okay. Go ahead.
No, I can't read that one.
Oh, you
It's too
can't
small.
read
I can't
Oh,
go
I see.
back
Okay.
up.
So if
Yeah.
you're in tune with nature and your own soul, you have nothing to fear when walking in nature. However, I suggest you carry a firearm.
I don't
Don't
think
do
you
this
need a
at home.
firearm as much as you need
You're gonna
pepper
get popped off.
spray.
Your nervous system is well wired. Oh,
Yeah.
you said you should have asked the guest today.
We're so mean to Wayne. Like,
Not really.
you're mean.
Bugs, I didn't have an answer. Pass the buck is what I say.
You didn't even say I don't know. You should have asked the guest.
I know. So why did you ask the guest that? Because it was a really good question. So it wasn't to be like malicious. It was
That
just
is so
like,
funny.
I know, it was a brilliant question. Like, you definitely should have asked. So, we'll have to
It's like
ask her.
that
It's just-
time he asked you something and you said, well, sometimes you're not meant to
I
know.
know.
And I'm like, you said what?
I know. I know. Okay, so what we're going to actually put a station ID, but what we're going to do, look, we have something brand new for you folks to listen to. Oh, have a listen.
All right, everybody. It's time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcasts. There's an amazing show I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards. The Outer Realm in the category of Best Female Hosted Podcast. The Outer Realm is a very popular show hosted by Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano, which boasts millions of listeners each week who are well known for and have been complimented on their very laid-back, roundtable style of interviewing. Together, this dynamic duo brings you the best of the best with guests from around the world who are well-versed within their respective fields of ufology, paranormal, esoteric, and other areas of high strangeness, and more. So go to podcastawards.com to nominate The Outer Realm in the category Best Female Hosted Podcast. That's podcastawards.com, and please take a moment and do it now.
And we're not done yet. We've got 2 more on the network, so we're going to promote everybody. Hang tight, please.
All right, everybody, it's time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcast. Yes, it is that time of year again. There's a show I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards, UFO Undercover, in the category of entertainment. UFO Undercover brings you some of the most revealing and current research that is being done with respect to alien abductions and contact. Host Joe Montaldo has been an abduction researcher for over 35 years and is uniquely qualified to bring you live interviews with some of the most well-known researchers in ufology. Go to podcastawards.com to nominate UFO Undercover in the category of entertainment. That's podcastawards.com, and please take a moment and get out and vote now.
Oh, 1 more.
Hey there. It's time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcasts. There's an amazing show I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards. The News on the Flip Side, in the category of politics and news. News on the Flip Side is a much different news and political program which is not deemed as opinion news. Listen as Joe Montaldo brings to you just the facts from trusted sources which will allow you, the people, to make up your own minds on the various stories being reported on. Go to podcastawards.com to nominate News on the Flip Side in the category of politics and news. That's podcastawards.com, and please take a moment and do it now.
Ha! Told you there'd be some cool stuff coming up, and there we have it. So, of course, we're going to play the heck out of that every week. Anyway, Okay, let's go with our station ID. We'll
Here we
take up where
go.
we left off.
That's right. You are listening to The Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pizzano, coming to you live from the beautiful city of New Orleans on 105.3 and 107.7 FM radio. We are currently streaming live and archived on Roku. So if you are just tuning in or watching us right now, thank you so much for joining us. Please share us with all of your friends. Tonight, we are discussing elementals, tuning into Earth, earthing, cryptids. There isn't anything that we haven't touched on today. Even black bears. Figure that one out. And the big wolf that Michelle and Wayne got to see. So if you are just tuning in and you've missed all of the fun, don't worry, because you can stream the archive on any platform you normally use. Again, don't forget to share us with your friends. A huge thank you, and I forgot to take my pen out of here. A huge thank you to the amazing people at Folgers Coffee for fully sponsoring our show from day one and continuing to sponsor our show into the next year. Thank you so much, Folgers, for your support. Shout out and a huge thank you for our intro and outro and lending his voice to Dr. Snick, the sonic surgeon, Justin Snicker, award-winning composer and musician. You can find his music on Amazon and Bandcamp. And don't forget to check him out on Facebook and Instagram, where he's daily dropping clips of his music for sampling. Now, if you are watching us on Facebook right this minute or on YouTube, please make sure to give us a like and subscribe, and don't forget to share. Back to Michelle.
And big thank you to Steve McGinnis, who is, again, the artist behind our banners and our logo. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And for
Yes.
those just
Oh,
tuning in,
sorry.
expecting to see Jeff Olsner, technical difficulties, we will be rescheduling him. And disappointing it is, you have us. Yeah, we're lots of fun. Chat room is on fire. So let's kind of get back to that. And everybody join on in. Lots of fun. And we'd love to hear your stories. So going back to pick up where we left off, Dolly. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, yeah. So beginning with the first question. Okay, yeah. So this is where we can pick up. Your consciousness is driving a great vehicle. It has sensors, light arrays, sense of smell, sight, everything in your body aids your consciousness in this dimension. Agreed. And then Wayne said, it goes, oh, yes, I asked about my life path. I guess this is when he went to a medium, right?
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember. Is this me? Yeah, no. I asked about my life path. You have to elaborate on this, Wayne. I had to figure it out on my own. When her car wasn't working and asked me to look at it, I told her I knew what was wrong, but she'd have to figure it out. Did you actually say that to me? What a guy. What a guy. So, wow.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. So Dolly says, P.S. humans are elementals. Ooh.
Oh,
Ooh, yeah.
really?
Well, that's another good way of looking at it for sure. Okay. And Chris, you're funny. The hosts on the Outer Realm are not only extremely smart, well-informed, very impartial, and articulate, they're also smoking hot. But I'm gay, so it's a huge compliment. That's why we love
Chris.
you. Thank you. Yes. It goes, yes, I asked you, being me, and you were not very impressed. No.
No. Take
I
this
know.
after the show. No.
No, we're going to go higher on me now.
Oh,
So,
my God.
I know. So
That is so funny.
I know. So getting back to like dogmen, we
Ugh.
do have, there's sightings of them everywhere. And I know in Canada, there's one called it's a bit of a story called the Beast of Port Robinson. And I've been hearing stories coming out of this place for ages. And for people who don't know what Port Robinson is, it's an area down near Niagara Falls, closer to like the Welland Canal, because they actually split the area in two when they put the locks in. So there's huge locks that go through the Great Lakes there. It's an unbelievable technological wonder. Anyhow, this one girl ended up telling Wayne the story, actually.
Mhm.
And she basically said that she was with, some friends in the woods. And yeah, the town was cut in half when the panel canal, yes, was built. Exactly. That was Wayne. And Wayne, correct me if I'm wrong on the story because it was told to you, but they were walking down the road and something big, like it looked like a werewolf, basically how it was described, started chasing them. So eventually they got hold of the car. Is that how it went? Where I was sure they were walking and they saw this thing and got in the car. Okay, chased her car. All right. So I can't remember the story exactly. It's always hard being that the third person. But the
Hmm.
beast chased her car and the car was clawed up. Yes, I think it was her and her friend in the car. Okay. And but if I'm not mistaken, when they got home and they found it clawed the next day, so this thing actually followed them home, which is creepy in
Oh,
itself. Yeah.
yeah.
Off driving. Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
if it's a cryptid or anything, that would have a heightened sense of
Well,
smell,
it's a
right?
dog. Dogs can
Yeah,
figure
and they
that
can,
stuff out,
well,
right?
that's why you use bloodhounds for
Right.
cadaver dogs. But
Sure.
huh.
I don't know. There are things out there. Okay, so this is oh, shit. Okay, because they got home, locked themselves in the house, and the thing was sniffing around the doors and windows. See again with the door sniffing
Yeah,
thing.
I don't like that. That
No.
that that's disturbing. It makes me wonder if it's something interdimensional and not something that is here. And then I wonder, is
Mm,
it malevolent in the sense of demonic, not cryptid? If
mhm.
it's doing that, why is it pursuing? Is it because they're like I have a million and one questions now. I think we need to bring Ken Gerhard back, but I have a million and one questions about that now.
Or is it ET?
Why would ET
Because
smell the door?
well, I mean, she said Dolly said that there are extraterrestrials that look like Anubis.
Yes,
So,
Horus.
but I
She
mean,
did say
these are yeah, these are big. I mean, these are really big. Anubis, I look at Anubis as just being really, slim, trim, and just well kept.
but like,
These are big, smelly, mangy looking things.
yeah, I don't
So
know.
I don't know, but there's obviously curiosity. And I remember when I was doing research for this family I was helping who had the sighting of this big tall creature with the snout and the red eyes and the cloak. Um, I started doing some research and I did not find a lot of stories about that within the region. The closest I could find was a story of a young man in the northern United States. And basically, he said he was trapped in his house for an entire night and
Oh
he
wow.
watched. There was more than one. He said there were like 3 or 4 of them. They circled his house all night. Said it never happened before and it never happened after.
See, I got Adrian agreeing with me.
Okay, want to get
Thank you,
that?
Adrian. I kind of float on this theory. What Adrian is saying. When
Mhm.
things act in a way that they show hate
I
is a
hate
hard
humans.
word, but hate humans, it makes me think more demonic, deranged at the very least.
Mm.
Yeah, I just wonder when you're following someone to that extent,
Mhm.
that's something that we get rid of for people. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
but I do understand that point, but it could be just a but crazy
I know.
butt-headed ET. I mean, there's different
Mm.
types, right?
I
We
know.
don't have the answers.
What's your thought, Dolly? She says, "Man, what a
The
message that
message that
might
might
be."
be, yeah.
Wrong place, wrong time. Came through a portal, saw the house, looked like food inside of it moving around, taunting them. I don't know. I mean, it
Scary.
could be anything. Okay.
Um, Tamara says, I was lucky because my grandfather explained cryptids after we saw one together, and he cut lumber in the forest in New Brunswick
Mhm.
when he was young and said, they are real. Don't mess with them. Yeah,
Wow.
especially granddad. My gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's what I want
I
to
don't.
protect you.
I think there's so much. This goes back to we're coming full circle a little bit. Um, maybe they do it for fun. I bet you. how we talk about educating the next generation on things, and they all think that, we're that generation. It's like, oh, you're all crazy. I seriously have to make myself a tin hat so I can wear it when I talk like this. I'm gonna start putting it on. I
Too bad I
swear to
can't
God.
throw the foil to you
I
through
know.
because I do have a craft
Put it on.
closet right next to me.
Okay, it'll be my tin hat, my imaginary
Yeah.
tin hat.
We might have to wear one next week. Yeah.
But honestly, if they're thinking that we're all crazy, then they're never going to hold the information. Like Tamara, my grandfather was also, and my uncles, from the same family, would tell of all kinds of stories. They would see UFOs. They would talk about it. My grandfather had a telescope. He watched for them. So, because we're like a generational, I think, contactees without a doubt, obviously. And, he would go stay, like, they had, like, they called them camps up there because, they're just, it's up north. It's not a big cottage, but my grandparents owned a 3-acre island.
Cottages
And
are supposed to be
they
small.
had it to themselves. Yeah, exactly. But I'll tell you, like, he would go up there for like months at a time by himself. And he would go off on excursions and leave the island and go up and into the woods. And I'd be just like,
That's courageous.
they would see all kinds of things, but we all sit there and just like, oh yeah, sure. I'm like, don't go to the woods. Okay, Mom. Okay, shut up. I'm just telling you for real.
I'm laughing at Adrian right now, and you're saying that at the same time. Okay, let's read Dolly's. If it's ET, they are protective of their people. What was that person up to? I don't know, but why would they be sniffing the door?
No, that was at the other house.
Oh,
This is the one where the 16-year-old guy was in the house by himself.
that's crazy.
And they circled his house all night. He posted something. It was on the website, or just like on some site that I found. And he's going, I'm really scared.
Okay.
I don't know what to do. They've been going all night,
Yeah.
still going.
They did a reenactment of a similar story. I've talked about it maybe in the beginning when we first started, how a man and his wife and his children lived in the middle of nowhere in a forest.
Mhm.
And I'm pretty sure it was in one of the states. And they had these creatures outside at night. Their eyes were glowing white, but they smelled, and from what they could see in the dim light,
Mhm.
because they didn't have much lighting but the moon, because they're out in the middle of nowhere at a cabin. They had, okay, now we know you're here with us, Joe.
Mushrooms will do that to you. Sure.
They stayed until daylight
know.
and then left.
Right.
What was that? And
I
then if
don't
nobody
know.
shot at them, he didn't hit any of them. He could hear the snarls, and they were circling the house and just watched them. They were
Right.
afraid for their lives. Like, he's got a shotgun there, and so
See, it's
that just
totally-
reminded me of that.
Well, it sounds like very similar. Like, I just feel bad for this kid because he was by himself. I try to think about, like any kid by themselves at that age. Like, they're real smart, but
I
until
wonder if it was his story and they just embellished it to
Embe-
do the
maybe.
reenactment, because it was
I
on one
have
of
no
those
idea.
paranormal shows. Yeah. Oh, maybe they have a wolf gang and they have to terrorize humans as initiation to join. That's where I was
Maybe.
laughing because I caught that earlier. Thanks for moving all the comments up, Joe, with your
Yeah.
mushroom joke.
Yeah.
That I can't see.
Okay, because we're not crazy. We all know there is more to the world than what we're told. Ghosts are real, ETs are real. There are things we don't know about that are real. I agree. I think it comes back to being so suppressed for so long. We're raised, in a broken educational system that teaches us a certain thing, and religious belief systems that teaches us a certain thing. Everything revolves around instilling the fear of God into us as kids.
Yes.
That we're afraid to even think outside the box. I was a rebel child and always went outside the box. So much so, okay, try not to laugh, but so much so that my aunt was friends with a priest who would go. This guy would go, like, he would go to Africa. He would go everywhere. This guy, he was very, very knowledgeable. And she laughed. She goes, well, he was a younger priest. He was really hip. so a lot of the younger people would listen to him. I'm this rebellious teenager going, whatever. Like, I don't believe all of this because I think it's because I'm being rebellious. I didn't like that it was pushed on me. I wanted to come up with my own beliefs. I had my own belief system, and I believed in God. I believed in all that. Even then, at 14 years old, I did not believe in the institution. So he sat down with me and he says, okay, this is how it is. And I'm just like, because ask me anything. So I really asked about things that they were taught in seminary. I even knew then. I said, I want to know this, and this. Then he started talking to me about end times and how you should be careful because there are mimics out there that will imitate your loved ones just to try to get you to come out of the house. Like, he really got dire. And I just looked at him and he goes, none of this scares you.
Black-eyed children freak me out.
I know, right? So I don't know.
I think it's because we don't know what they are. Like, nobody has a definitive answer. We've never had a guest on that could even, their answers were never the same as any other guests that came on to speak of black-eyed children. Everything was always different, and it's so confusing.
I think maybe you're dealing with extraterrestrials.
I think so too. Now that we've had all these shows, yeah, I think so too. But in the beginning, I mean, I believed because of all these paranormal shows.
I swear to God, Joe, I can see you down there, and I'm going to bring you right up on the screen.
I don't know what he's doing, but you should.
I know, right? I cannot repeat what I just saw.
Picking on me.
So, no, he's not. He's just hamming. But
oh no!
I'll tell you after the show.
Yeah, I just got myself tangled in my ear.
Uh-oh. So I don't know. I think being conditioned a certain way, we're just taught not to go venturing in things. And I saw an article today where somebody asked AI, okay, this is just a story that got passed around. So again, it's just something I saw on social media. Is it real? Is it not real? I don't know. Don't shoot the messenger. I just found it interesting because it will come. The way AI technology is evolving, it will come along. And they said they asked about the Vatican archives. And basically it went on to explain a lot about what was in the Vatican archives, as far as like all kinds of corruption and all kinds of stuff that, but it was such a technical answer. And it was so long that you would almost have to read between the lines.
It's a need to know.
Yeah, exactly. But
sorry,
I'm just
people.
Thinking,
it's a need to know. Even those who work it in there don't know what's in there.
No, it's
everything that is of any importance is locked behind locks, and it takes several codes to get into it. It doesn't look like Dan Brown's Da Vinci Code. It's not opening glass like that. You got to be kidding me if you think it looks like
nobody's going to be that lucky.
No,
so,
no, they're all in different safe, controlled rooms and humidity controlled rooms, but there are security pass upon security pass. One person cannot just walk in. No. They just can't walk in there. They've shown it on television.
I just found that it was a really interesting. Yeah. Because, I mean, let's face it, as AI comes into play a little bit more, as it evolves on its own, and it will, because you look at the Google one, that one's already evolved.
Well, let me tell you something. If you want to talk about AI coming into the real world, one of the, and we're not talking politics, but Toronto's up for a new city mayor. One of the mayors ran his campaign. People have found him using AI, and they're after him now. So I have a feeling he'll be dropped. Which is it's a pretty cool race this year because there's 3 women, 3 men. That's never happened.
That's a tough one because they're on and on about AI is really the future.
Yeah, but he's not supposed to be using that for campaign. He's supposed to be answering questions.
Uh-oh.
So he put out some stuff to promote
Right.
himself, and they've come to see that it's AI, and they're like, yeah, this isn't gonna fly.
This is not acceptable.
Yeah,
But
no,
I know, I think
no.
it's up to we as human beings to definitely, push all of
Well,
that aside. Because even when you
yeah,
look at writers and illustrators of the future, okay, even a lot of their images, when they're looking at illustrators, they're not allowed to use AI. They want them, they're very
no,
specific about the fact that it's like, you know what, you do this on your own. And as it
yeah.
should be, as it should be. You're up for
Well,
an award, view it
I
yourself,
I think with this, because
But
they're
some
so
people,
afraid of those AI 15-minute cities,
mm-hmm,
they're not going to elect someone like him in.
mm-hmm.
But it's not a political thing. I'm just saying this is how AI can influence
Mhm.
us today. Toronto is a large city. It's multicultural, and it's
Mhm.
second year in a row. We're not proud of this. The most expensive city in Canada. We're not proud of this. But
Right.
anyways, that is something that is really scary.
It's something, the way of the future, and it
Yeah.
totally got us away from our
Yeah.
grounded
And
to
it
the earth,
shows
nature in our life.
that, yeah, that
We
city
need
is
nature in our
ready.
life. Yeah,
Yep.
just
They're-
totally get away from
They're not
the
ready
whole
for it. They're talking
Right.
back by saying what the hell
Right.
is going on, and I'm proud of them. That's
Right.
a way that we have to slide. AI isn't even ready for us.
No. No, exactly. Dogman for president.
Don't
You know what?
you have him running for president? I'm kidding.
I personally would love to eventually. I think right now, like, there's so much going on that you're going to see a lot more people, just because, it's like it's 10:40, right? So we're
Yeah.
slowly getting there. But I think as the world has been flipped upside down, and it was a real eye opener for a lot of people. And you're seeing a lot of people left the metropolis areas, and a lot of people went out and bought land. They bought, like cottage land, built a home, turned it into their homes. Some people have gone off the grid. Not a bad idea at all, because I think people got very fearful and felt, I would rather be away from, from that many people. So there's something to be said, I think, for going back to the roots. I grew up, alongside of a very nice big lake. I grew up alongside being in the woods, a very healthy lifestyle. And I think eventually I would like to end up the same way, because as we evolve as people, I like to spend time in and around nature. I love, who'd have known that the trees could communicate with each other via a root system, this high degree of intelligence. I always laugh at people, or laugh at people who say, oh, it's funny when you say, go hug a tree. No, I mean it though.
Oh, it's not
You're
funny.
grounding, you do earthing, hug a tree. A tree
beautiful.
will exchange its energy with you,
Yeah.
and you probably feel fantastic.
Thank it.
And then to find out, I look at plants an entirely different way. It's like, don't trim the plant, even though you have to trim a bad leaf off a plant so it doesn't drain from the rest of it. They scream. They don't like it. I'm thinking, plants scream. Apparently, scientists have recorded this.
Yeah, check that out on YouTube after
Right?
the show. If you're on YouTube, just go search that. It's
know.
unbelievable.
I know. It's just, it's craziness. So
Yeah.
just being the whole experiment, with the plants being belittled and the other plant being complimented, and watching the physical deterioration of that plant shows, like,
It's very sad. Oh
that's-
my God. Sorry. I got
know.
bit twice.
I know. It's crazy. Okay, hold on.
I literally got nibbled twice on my foot. The dog's
Oh, your
right
dog
under
is
me.
after you?
He bit
Sit
my
with your
foot.
back against a tree, meditate. At the same time as Tamara came in on
Yes.
Facebook, sit with your back against a tree, meditate. Are you guys sharing the brain? That's amazing.
Oh my gosh.
It came in at the exact same time. So,
I used to sit with my back against a tree when we were at the lake house to read.
right.
My father had saved this tree that was on there because they had to take the land apart. And
Mhm.
it was by the water on the corner's edge. My mother loved it because she said it gave her shade. She didn't need a tan. She was olive skin. That lady was brown all year.
Right.
And she would like even her, she would read her magazines there, and I would, play in the water, and then I would come out and read my books
Mhm.
with sitting on there. But I used to always think it was because I love the beach.
Right.
I
Right.
didn't
Right.
realize I was getting so much from
Right.
the tree. But I'm a Pisces, so I do really well in and around water.
Right.
Love it.
Yeah.
Energizes me.
Mhm.
Do
I
you
love it.
ever connect with water when you're in your house? Just the
Mhm.
water that comes in to wash your hands, and you just sit there a minute and you run the cool water and close your eyes and just absorb all of that. It's
Mhm.
for me, I don't know. I love it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I love it as well. I love anything that, that's always been there. We have to remember some of these, you look at some of these trees that have been there for hundreds of years. You go to Europe, some of these trees have been for like thousands of years. And mind you, I say that, Europe lost a lot of its forest, but when you're going into places that I've been to, the haunted forest in Romania, the Black Forest, there are some great forested areas, and some of our trees are thousands of years old. And I think that if you're spending time around wisdom, if you can absorb that, especially as a medium, you
Mhm.
can communicate with any sort of life
Energy.
and essence.
Mm.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. But I agree with Tamara. Old forests do have a
I
completely
think so
different
too.
vibe. Oh yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
I want to oh, I'm a water person. Dolly says I'm in it as much as possible. Me too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I would love to go over to California where they have those. Where are they? The redwood trees?
Yes, the redwood
So
forest.
I want to go through there.
Mhm. But we have those out in Vancouver too.
Yeah, but I want to. It's something that I want to do because of the sheer massive
Right.
size of it.
Yeah,
Isn't
same,
it?
same. We
Are they
have
the
them.
same?
Yeah, we have them out
No, but do they have like as
in
large of a
BC.
forest
Yeah,
and
yeah.
as tall?
Oh God, yeah. You can go in.
Well,
There's
then I can
pictures of
stay in
people out in
Canada.
BC, and they're like
Yeah.
almost like go walk right through them. They're just these big. You can drive a car through them.
Yeah, I don't want to see cars through them. I
No,
want
but
to
I'm just
see
saying,
just
like they're big enough
that
that you
wide.
could drive.
Okay,
Yes.
I literally took it literally.
No.
My
No. No.
antacid just twisted. I had to take an antacid
Right.
earlier
Yes.
on the show. I
No.
think it
No.
just
It's
yeah.
okay. It's okay. Yeah. but
Oh my
but
gosh.
you know, but I think that somewhere along the lines, if we can just go back to the way it was like pre all the technology, like you look back to the time of Druids and pagans and the indigenous and pre-ice age, and these are people who lived in the forest and they lived with the different beings that were there. You
Yes.
think to yourself, time of the Fae, and I mean, the Druids talked about coexisting with Fae people all the time. And
Mhm.
it wasn't until religion came in, Christianity came in, and they knew about the Fae, and the Fae they would help people. They lived amongst people for hundreds, if not thousands of years, helping them, working and living side by side. Bring in religion, different belief system, trying to create a belief system. All of a sudden,
Mhm.
they drove them underground, they drove them away. So you see, that just goes to show you, even going back 2,000 years ago, all of this changed. And it shouldn't have. It shouldn't have, because these were people who lived with and worked and existed, coexisted with people from the woods, people with um who they just lived from, enjoyed the planet for what it was. They drew
Mhm.
they drew from it. Chris, okay, we're going to go back right here. Okay, Druid.
Oh,
Yeah,
druids lived with the Fae and worked with
yeah,
the elements. Yes.
absolutely, absolutely. And
Yeah.
that came to us sneaky. They can be, and yes, they will, because they lost trust. They lost trust of humans. It wasn't always like that at all. And
Yeah.
I think it's sad that it came to that, because a new belief system came into play. And
Mhm.
that's what made it really, this is not right, because Druids, pagans, it's all about the earth. It's all about nature and the elements, all of it. And of course they just drove a lot of these people out. So I think when push comes to shove, there are ways, and maybe, I'll leave it here. Maybe it's time that we start going back to old belief systems and really start to embrace nature and embrace, all of the otherworldly elements that have always been a part of antiquity and ancient cultures before, the last, probably a few hundred years now, right? They're disconnected from man now. They are. Absolutely. They don't trust man. I don't blame them.
No, I don't blame them.
We're,
There's a lot of people that don't trust man. But yeah.
But and again, so are we dealing with I'll have to say, I don't want to say extraterrestrial, because they're not. There are terrestrial beings that may have been here long before us, and did they come from the stars? Were they part of inner Earth? Very possibly. So, what? It's gonna be one of those nights, is it? All right, Mr. Man.
Write down all your questions and wait till she gets off air.
Oh yeah, someone's getting fixed. But yeah, so maybe we just leave it there and pick it up next week, because I'm going to officially do our outro right now, and we're going to talk. I'll tell what's going on next week. So unfortunately, we did not get Jeff Olsner, and it was not for a lack of trying, because the poor guy tried everything. So I have a feeling I'm going to have to do a sound check with him when we are able to bring him back on. And August works for him, thankfully, because we're pretty much booking into August right now, and there's only limited spots left. So we will bring him back on, because I really, really feel that he would have had a lot of different sort of things to say, and being able to talk about different things that make us resonate with wanting to be connected to nature, and talking about the climate change and working with remote viewers. And I really, really think it would have been a great show. So, and it's just on hold. So unfortunately, it was not to be said and taken care of tonight. Boo.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Sad.
But we all had a good time with you guys, and the chat room was great. We had a lot of great interaction. So big thank you to you guys in chat room for joining us tonight and making this so much more interesting. Honestly, I know, and I wish we would have gotten Jeff, but he was struggling, and he will be coming on. So save the conversation, and nothing makes a guest feel better than seeing the chat room completely light up for them. So let's just hold that thought, and we'll pick it up when he does join us. So big thank you to Folgers Coffee for sponsoring tonight's show. Tonight, every night, every week. And I think we're going into year 3 or 4 with them. Just thank you. We love and appreciate you so very much. And big thank you to Justin Snicker, aka Dr. Snick, the Sonic Surgeon, for his contribution of his time, his voice, and his music for our intro that you guys hear. Big thank you to Steve McGinnis for the artwork that he's provided to us. We appreciate you all so very much. Next week, we're going to be having Mark Ollie come back on, all the way from the UK. And if my memory serves me right, don't quote me on it, but if memory serves me right, we're going to be discussing the real Robin Hood and the connection to Templars. You know how I love to talk about Templars. And Thursday night, we are having another parlay, just like this, but a planned one.
It was planned, yes.
We had a planned one, I know. So we just got to improvise tonight, but we're going to have a planned one. And that'll be fun. So just get everything, whatever you want to talk about. We're just going to throw it out there. We're going to have a mix of things, and we're going to put some stuff together ourselves, as we always do. And if somebody wants to come on and join us for a few minutes, and you have a really cool story to tell, that would be the time, people. You know how many times people say to us, well, I'd love to come on and tell my story, quick story. Well, when we have these nights, it's just the two of us, and you have a story that, you really want to talk about and get it out there and answer questions about it, that would be a really good time. So
Yeah, we
think
don't have a
about
phone.
it. Yeah, we don't take calls
No.
for many good reasons too.
Let me tell you,
Believe
that's
me,
another
for many
night.
good reasons. But
Yeah.
we can send you a link. So if this is something that you want to do, I'm going to put up our contact for the show right here. So just email us and say, yes, I'd like to. I mean, it may only be about 15 minutes, was, unless it's like, a really detailed thing, then we're always happy to go there. But we also need to have contact information to send out the link, because we don't send the soundboard link out to the airways for obvious reasons. So we would have to pre-plan this. Okay. So anyway, think about that. So that is going to be next week. So in the meantime, I hope you all have a terrific weekend. And remember, it's Father's Day this weekend. Be nice to your pappy.
Yeah, don't forget
is.
them. Give them a
I
call. I don't have mine anymore, so
I know.
yeah, give them a call.
Yeah, do something, because
Tell
you
them
know
you
what?
love
It's
them.
nice. And tell them every day, but it's a special day. Make it dad day. So anyway, have a fantastic weekend. If you're traveling, please be safe. We'd like to see you all here next week. Okay. And yeah, exactly what Tamara said. Happy Father's Day weekend, everyone.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, guys. Love you all. We'll see you all next week.